In 1989, Wonderscope, with a history that is both fascinating and unique, was founded in Shawnee, Kansas. It has been shaped by the love and dedication from very special people, resources and ideas from education-based organizations and stakeholders, and the generous support from the community. While Wonderscope would grow from a modest traveling exhibit to a place of magic and wonder today, its mission has remained the same: to spark a lifelong love of learning through the power of play. For 30 years, Wonderscope has been a place where children can explore the world of science, literature, and art created specifically for them. 2019 marks the start of Wonderscope's next chapter with a new place for play, a bigger modern museum that will allow more families to come learn, play, and grow together. In 1988, a Johnson County Commissioner's Task Force designed to study activities available for children and families in the community concluded that there was a shortage of hands-on interactive programs. In response, 2 children's museums were founded. Wonderscope Inc. began as a traveling exhibit. The Kansas Children's Museum was founded by a local resident, Marty Porter. Originally opening in the Kansas State School for the Visually Handicapped, it would later relocate to the Indian Springs Shopping Center. Marty Porter would go on to play a pivotal role in shaping Wonderscope in its early years and providing a foundation for stability and growth. Wonderscope's first home was at Greenwood Elementary School, where it leased the space from the school district. This location worked well for the budding museum until the mid-1990s, when a developer purchased the property for retail use. Fortunately, in 1998, Vic Rainier, owner of Vic Rainier Builders, and his wife Helen saw the need for a more permanent location and understood the importance of a children's museum to the region. He generously donated the use of the Flint Elementary School. At the time, Jane Wilson, Wonderscope's executive director, said, quote, "The school is a perfect way to recycle a building for children."
Wonderscope was important to my dad because of the impact on the kids. He just loved being around little kids and he got a lot of energy from that. I think he could see that the kids were not only having a good time, but that they were basically acting out what they might be doing as adults. And that, I think he recognized, was important. He learned subsequently that Shawnee Mission School District was going to sell all of their excess buildings, and this small museum was going to have to close because there was no place for them to go. I think that touched him. My dad was a real estate guy, and the fact that there was a piece of real estate that was causing this to not be an entity anymore was something that I think he felt like he could help with.
Vic and Helen's generous act opened up a new world of possibilities for Wonderscope and established its foundation for years to come. For the first time, the museum would have the space to add permanent exhibits, programs, and events that would lead to a large and loyal following among young families in Kansas City and beyond.
Wonderscope used to be my elementary school. I taught here. There's so many memories when I come back. It's just wonderful. This room over here was a 2nd grade room. This was the kindergarten room. And where I'm sitting right here, we would come here to get our lunch. I love it. It's so colorful, and there's so many activities that the kids can be involved in.
During its inaugural year, more than 60,000 visitors came through its doors. Wonderscope was quickly a success, though it was only open on weekends. In 1992, however, the museum extended its hours to include weekdays in order to accommodate the large number of visitors. As it continued to thrive, 2 partnership opportunities arose that would further shape its future. The first occurred in 2004 with Beyond the Book, a grassroots mobile children's museum that focused on literacy. When the 2 organizations merged, Wonderscope expanded its emphasis to include reading, writing, and storytelling. The second significant opportunity occurred in 2008, when Wonderscope merged with Marty Porter's museum called the Children's Museum of Kansas City.
So at that point in time, when we were going to funders, requesting grants, doing all of that, we many times ran into the question of, well, which children's museum in Kansas City are we supposed to fund? And why are you different? Or why aren't you the same? Why aren't you together?
Wonderscope Children's Museum of Kansas City was officially born, bringing together the visionary support from Vic Rainier and the passionate commitment of individuals like Marty Porter. Over the years, many new programs, events, and activities have been added and enhanced in order to create new ways for children to learn, play, and grow. These improvements have sparked the curiosity of children, encouraging them to explore the fields of science, technology, engineering, the arts, and math.
The board of directors, from when I can remember, was always hands-on. We were the people that would not only say, here's the idea of what we're gonna do, but we would then be the people that had to follow through and do it. Everybody was in it in order to have the joy of seeing kids have fun at the museum. We wanted to have a fantastic place that any child could come to and have an experience that is beyond any other kind of museum, because it'd be the hands-on learning that they would enjoy.
2016 would prove to be a monumental year for Wonderscope, with several other notable changes. Along with investing over $150,000 in upgrades and renovations, Wonderscope launched daily programs. These programs, called Circle Time, Music and Movement, Art Class, and Story Time, added structure to the free play concept.
This is a wonderful, happy place. When we walked in, they know Gio by name.
I feel like it's done a lot for his confidence too. Interacting with the other kids and having a chance to excel and learn.
Carter and I have been coming to Wonderscope since he was 11 months old. It's been a bonding experience for us. You get to learn specific interests about what your kiddo likes. Rachel and I believe that Carter's time at Wonderscope is getting him ready not only for elementary school but also for preschool.
Even though we come every week, it's not the same experience every week. It's a great opportunity for kids to have open-ended play where they can be creative.
I think Wonderscope is very important when you're talking about childhood development and kindergarten readiness. A lot of learning happens before age 5, and putting a young person in an environment where they can learn and experience things really has a dramatic impact, and the earlier the better. Even if it's the social relationship between two children at play next to each other. And I think that is a critical element that frankly is missing in Kansas City.
I think it's a wonderful idea of real life skills that you could learn from play. Learning how to become maybe interested in these various professions. This is kind of exceptional in that it gives you the best of both worlds in a way.
As Wonderscope celebrates its 30th anniversary in 2019, it is only fitting that the museum embarks on a new journey. Wonderscope's board of directors approved a capital campaign to build a new, larger children's museum located at Red Ridge Shopping Center in Kansas City, Missouri. The new Wonderscope will explore the many crossroads that have helped define the Kansas City experience.
I think it's basically a reward to all the people that have been on the board for the many years in the past that said, look, I believe in this, and because it's still here and because now more people can use it, it just shows that all the hard work is paying off.
I think the vision for Wonderscope is to build upon our consistent operations over the last several decades and our ongoing mission of learning through the power of play. We are pulling in that history. We're not really shifting course in any way. We're just trying to magnify it and expand it. We really see ourselves as trying to find the best, most innovative methods of teaching kids and giving kids new experiences, while also still recognizing the community that we're in and making this a Kansas City specific place.
We're really proud of our 30th anniversary, really excited about that, but we're really looking forward to the next 30 years, and we're really close to creating a space that we can be for the next 30 years. And really our vision for it as a board and even previous boards was to have a space that could really allow us to become what we have always wanted to become, partnering with the surrounding school districts and really being a children's museum for all of Kansas City. But then lastly, we really do want it to be an attraction for the city. When people talk about what should I do when I go to Kansas City, Wonderscope should be one of the first things you should say if you have a young family.
Twice the size of the current museum facility, the new Wonderscope will feature indoor and outdoor exhibits sprinkled with actual Wonderscopes that will allow visitors to view familiar places in unfamiliar ways. Young explorers and their families will encounter a creative programming zone, an art studio and design lab, along with materials that encourage experimentation. Young musicians can explore music and sound in a unique setting, while young chefs can role play in the Kansas City Cafe. Sports enthusiasts may climb, run, and jump in the sports-themed exhibit. All of this has been made possible thanks to the extremely generous support of the Rainier Family Foundation, along with other major foundations, corporations, and individuals.
For any nonprofit, it's always important to have a really solid benefactor, one that has always been in your corner, one that has believed in you from the start. And that's how the Rainiers are for us. From building the most solid foundation for us and giving us the property that we currently use, to their ongoing financial support, the belief in the mission that Vic and Helen had when we started, to the ongoing support from Bob and Vic and Kathy. We're now in our third generation with Kate serving on the board for 6 years. They have allowed us to be poised, ready to take on the next 30 years and find even more success.
My parents would feel very proud about their 30-year involvement with Wonderscope. I think what Wonderscope has done has created an environment that children can go to learn and grow and be more than they ever thought that they could be. And I think that, if anything, is going to be the legacy of the new building. It's a place that has lots of different facets, things that your children could be exposed to that would interest them and bring things out of them. That's the kind of thing that I think is really valuable and I think is really important, and I think my dad would have been very supportive of this.
On behalf of the Board of Directors of Wonderscope, I'd like to personally thank the Rainier family for their long-standing commitment, their contributions to Wonderscope, but more specifically to the children of the Kansas City community, to my children, and to the future generations. And we wouldn't be here if it weren't for their time, treasures, and talents. They're really the angels of Wonderscope.
A children's museum like Wonderscope offers children the gift of learning and exploration through play in an inviting and educational environment. Research has shown that appropriate play enhances brain and cognitive development, promotes nurturing relationships, and stimulates language and self-regulating skills. At Wonderscope, the focus on STEAM concepts through positive play experiences helps jumpstart children's curiosity in these fields. The museum's educational programs and pop-ups are intentional and provide a framework for a lifetime of learning.
Kansas City needs a new museum, Wonderscope needs a new building. What we've seen in the last 2.5 years is a real steady growth in attendance and a steady growth in our membership. And so I think that's why the time is now. I'm often asked why we chose the location that we chose for the new museum. We wanted visibility and we wanted accessibility, that everybody in Kansas City who wants to be able to experience a children's museum can get to us and experience it. Diversity is the most important thing for us. We want to see every single child in Kansas City come through.
Walt Disney said, "You can design and create and build the most wonderful place in the world, but it takes people to make the dream a reality." For Wonderscope Children's Museum of Kansas City, 30 years of visionary pioneers, volunteers, friends, and families have made this museum a wondrous place for generations to come.